Welcome to Spotlight on Civil Contracting. My name's Greg Ward and I'm the host of the show. This is the final of a 10-part series looking at all aspects of the civil contracting industry here in New Zealand. Last week we spoke with Plan A and Clever Buying around procurement and logistics. And this week we are speaking with the president of CCNZ. Tim Ford has had a stellar career across the civil contracting industry. We're a long-term with Fulton Hogan and is now currently the CEO of Stevenson Aggregates and Stevenson Concrete. And it's great to have him here in the studio. Tim,
thanks,
wonderful to have you.
Pleasure to be here.
So Tim, firstly, congratulations are in order for becoming president of CCNZ. Tell us a little bit about that. How did you end up here in this role?
Yeah, that's an interesting question you posed there, Greg. I'd been a participant of this Executive Council for a number of years, and I got pulled aside by the current president at the time, Brian Warren, who just broached the subject with me to see if there was any appetite for it. And I sort of was taken back a little bit at the time, actually, and gave it some thought. Obviously, I had to get that approved by my employer at the time, Fulton Hogan, because there is quite a bit of time commitment to it. And the more I thought about it, the more I got interested, and I accepted the opportunity. We obviously had to go through a formal voting process that we do at the AGM, but yeah, it was quite an honour and privilege actually to be asked by Brian to accept the challenge and the role.
So you're 4 months into the presidency.
Yep.
When Brian Warren shoulder tapped you and said, how would you be interested in taking this role on? What was your thoughts around that at that point?
Initially, I was quite honoured to be given the opportunity. But after taking a step back, I thought, yeah, I'm fortunate. I've had a long career in civil engineering. I've been in the industry for coming up 35 years. It's time for me to put something back into industry there. And I guess I reflected on my career. I spent probably the first 20 years building projects, and I've got some amazing projects I could tell you stories about throughout the country that I'm extremely proud of. But probably more in the last 15 years, my focus has been about building teams and delivering sustainable teams there. And that for me is what a big part of my role in CCNZ is about, growing and developing talent in the industry there. And if I can use my experience to encourage people to join the industry, that's what I'll be doing.
Okay, you've seen enough of me. There's one last task that I've got to do, and it's the badge here that says President. So I've just asked President Ford to come up here to take his badge and lead the organisation onward. Look, I'm really confident that you're going into great hands. So Tim, it is yours, mate.
Firstly, thank you for endorsing my nomination at today's AGM. I feel very humbled and privileged to be taking the role of president. I'm inheriting a very, very successful organisation thanks to the hard work of the immediate past president and executive council members. We're in a very good position now, the CCNZ, with a new executive council sworn in, and we have our sights firmly focused on the future. We've made some big inroads into the political environment, and we'll push even further as we continue to inform and advise government and our politicians. It is clear that going forward we need to be agile. There's no point in looking back over our shoulder at the way things used to be. We actually need to keep looking forward and taking on the challenges of ahead. And on a final note, congratulations to all the finalists today. You can't all be winners, but it was great to see the high calibre of entries put into the competition. So congratulations on the finalists and congratulations on the winner. And I look forward to serving you as president over the next couple of years. Thank you.
So 4 months down the track, is the role of president all that you thought it would be, or is it more?
I probably underestimated the commitment, to be honest, Greg. I'd love to do more, but I've also got a day job as well, and I do this on a part-time basis. Hopefully in the new year, when things settle down a bit, I'll be able to spend a bit more time focusing on it. But it is an extremely demanding role, yes.
So as president, what do you want to achieve? What are some of the thoughts for Tim Ford here?
For me, I want to ensure that our members, and that's the members who are contracting members, associate members, branch associates, there's about 680 members in total there. They join our organisation. We've got to ensure that they get value for money. And I hear this conversation going around quite a bit there, value for money. So that's one of the things I've introduced to Executive Council there. How can we ensure that the members who've joined us are getting true value for money? And there's a series of projects we've got going behind the scenes and how we can ensure that value is maintained.
So during your time on the Executive Council, you would have been party to discussions and conversations. Mm-hmm. During that time, you would have been thinking, this is how I'd like to see things going. As President, you're in that position to make things happen. What's your thoughts for the future?
Well, quite clearly, CCN's Executive Council has got a strategic plan. So there's a lot of the projects that we're currently rolling out are aligned to that strategic plan. But I think more importantly for me, some of the changes that we've implemented that I'm very keen to continue the implementation on. We've come out of the amalgamation of Radium New Zealand and the Contractors Federation, and 4 years later, we're in a position now where we've changed the structure of our business. We've got a new focus now in terms of our technical. We've got a strong technical support team there that includes a lot of membership from our members. So we're giving a lot of new focus towards our technical part of our business. And likewise, the structure now has got more of a focus in terms of comms. So we've employed a full-time communications manager. We're getting into social media. We've upgraded the website. We're doing YouTubes. We're doing interviews on Face TV, for example. And so we are out there trying to really profile our organisation. So the technical aspect and value for money, and being the face of industry, but need to recognise that we want to attract more youth into the business, and I think that's essential in terms of our comms strategy.
Is this an element of the industry moving more high tech?
Oh, I think inevitably it will be. Yes, you look at from a machinery example there. I started my career off doing surveying, which was a very time-consuming, laborious job there. We've got drones now that can do the work in a 20th of the time that would take me to do the work. We've got machinery out there now. It's all controlled by satellite controls, line and level there. You don't need to put lift pegs in roads anymore. If you've got the appropriate software in your machine, you can just cut to line and level with it. There's a phenomenal amount of work that's coming out to tender. If you look particularly at the Auckland market at the moment, where we've got unprecedented volumes of work that are coming out. Some major projects at Auckland Airport, Viaduct Basin, City Rail Link, and Central Interceptor project for Watercare. These are projects that are significantly larger in scale than we've ever dealt with in the New Zealand industry. So we're now starting to find the challenges of how we're going to resource those projects, whether it be supplying from industry, aggregates, concretes, or whether it's a physical resource of labour. We're really at a crossroads now in terms of particularly in the Auckland business.
Do we have enough, when you say in terms of resources, we're talking about people, do we have enough people in the industry currently to satisfy that demand?
Well, if you read the statistics there, they're talking about a shortfall of about 30,000 people in the wider industry there. I'm not sure how accurate that number is, but to answer your question, we certainly need more people, and maybe we need to quantify exactly what we mean by more people. It's not a whole lot more managers. We need people right across the industry, whether it be labourers, whether it be machine operators, foremen, supervisors, managers, executive managers there. We need the appropriate level of balance right across the industry.
So where does CCNZ fit then in terms of that playing field as an organisation, or as an advocacy organisation?
So we have launched a number of initiatives now through a campaign called EPIC. So EPIC is it's been designed by our comms team in CCNZ about promoting civil engineering as in an industry perspective. So EPIC has been designed by younger engineers, young people working in our business, and it's about attracting the youth, and that youth could be in the range from sort of 16 to 18. That's the target audience we're aiming at. But we're also wanting to look at people who are in high schools, so making civil engineering an exciting opportunity for, for youth, then also for the mature people too who might be looking for a career change there. There's certainly plenty of opportunity that's apparent, but also the youth these days do have plenty of choice as well, as we all know.
But EPIC is a fantastic initiative, and this is a specific initiative, as Tim has said, aimed at our youth here in New Zealand to ensure that civil contracting is seen as a fantastic career to move into. When we're talking around civil contracting, one of the aspects of it, we often call it the hidden industry, because a lot of the stuff that we build, we then bury, and of course the general public doesn't get to see it. But in horizontal infrastructure, one of the main things the public sees is the roadworks and the ubiquitous stop-go person standing on the side of the road with a sign. That job itself must be a mind-numbingly boring job, but someone has to do it. What opportunities does that person have in the industry?
Really interesting point you raised there, Greg. The stop-go people are absolute pivotal elements of a team. Without those people performing their tasks there, the jobs that the physical crew's undertaking can't be completed. So from small beginnings, stop-go can lead to other career opportunities in there. And I'm a firm believer in employing for attitude. If you do a good job on the stop-go, there's plenty of opportunities that can be created working in a team environment. So that's just as a starting point.
Looking at the EPIC initiative put together by CCNZ, was there anything like this around when you were considering civil contracting as a career?
No, not at all. No. It was, I had a friend, a dear friend who was a civil engineer, and I looked up to him, admired him, and I thought I wouldn't mind doing that one day. And lo and behold, I did my training and came out the other side, and it's been an extremely rewarding career. Really loved it, every minute of it.
Well, tell us a little bit about your backstory. What are some of the highlights and projects that you've been involved with?
I think when I completed my studies, I did a New Zealand certificate in civil engineering. I started as a mature student. I didn't start till 23 years of age. And so I was pretty determined at the time to make it work for me from a career perspective. And I worked for two small to medium-sized companies in the Auckland market, and I guess I look back and the first 8 years of my career, I never set foot inside an office. I was field-based. I did surveying, set out, looking after and supervising the field crews, the operations. And I look back on the opportunities I had were just enormous. And I look back on those 8 years as the apprenticeship of my career. And I made a strategic decision after 8 years that if I wanted to get ahead and make a career out of it, I needed to progress some management opportunities that I took. And then from there I progressed, I guess, through the ranks.
You're sitting here as the president of CCNZ, so obviously the career choices you've made along the way seem to have been pretty effective.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's an industry. It's not for the faint-hearted. There's long hours. It's a dusty environment. You've got to do night shifts, day shifts. You have to work around your client and your customers' needs to get the job done. You beaver on, and it's like any opportunity in terms of careers. You take the opportunities when they come along. We find these days in particular, people are reluctant to move locations, and I guess for my employer, if you wanted to get ahead, you need to demonstrate that you're able to relocate both yourself and your family to meet the needs of the jobs that were there.
As the president, how much involvement do you have in working with government and lobbying government within the CCNZ framework?
Peter Silcock, the Chief Executive, and myself, we have a regular catch-up with government officials to discuss and put forward our members' views. We also have another forum where we meet about 4 times a year with the Tier 1 CEOs, and we try and get them in front of the senior politicians and the local government representatives there, so that the leaders of industry are talking to one another on common issues that are impacting on us.
So as an organisation, CCNZ is definitely in place for those Dad and Daves, as you say, who are pretty much working non-stop to ensure that they build their businesses, support their families, and don't necessarily have the time to be concentrating on the lobbying of government or the regulation aspect. And does CCNZ then provide that for the members?
Yeah, I think so. When you talk to members about why they join CCNZ, the common thread that comes through, it's a great networking opportunity to talk to their fellow contractors, their fellow workmates, and have some discussions about issues that they're dealing with, common issues sometimes, and it just provides a great framework and environment for those discussions to actually formally happen.
How important is an annual conference in this respect then, in terms of networking and connecting?
Oh, that for me, that's the pinnacle of the organisation there, where you're mixing and mingling with contractors from Cape Reinga to the Bluff, dealing with common issues that they may have, exposing them to future issues that might be relevant, that they need some guidance on. The annual conference really is so important to us as an organisation. Rewarding the efforts that people have put in to build these fantastic projects there, and they get an opportunity to present them. They're judged, and everyone's a winner on the day. Everyone who puts up an award is a winner, and it's just great to recognise the effort that goes into building some of these jobs formally in front of your peers. It's a really neat night.
Oh, there's such a great feeling in the room.
Absolutely.
It's quite palpable, to be fair. I wanted to just discuss with you around elements of diversity, whether it's diversity of thought, ethnic diversity, gender diversity across the industry. How are we doing, and what can we do better to engage right across the platform?
Well, I think we can always do more, and particularly in terms of gender diversity, and it's been really encouraging to see the progress that's been made in the last few years and what's been traditionally a male-dominated area. And there's some wonderful organisations now who are profiling and getting people into roles of senior responsibility, from board level right down to our field crews. But I'm saying we can always do more. This is still very much dominated by the males.
Yeah. So how are we looking across the whole of the playing field in terms of the contracting industry? Is it all plain sailing? Is our horizon clear?
No, I think we're at a little bit of a crossroads in terms of horizons there, where we've got some parts of our economy that are extremely buoyant and are progressive and going ahead, mainly in the upper North Island, and then we've got some of our smaller provinces that are probably being starved of funding, and as a result we're probably seeing more of a migration of civil employees to main centres where the work actually is. Even though the market is buoyant, we're still facing a number of challenges around procurement and the unnecessarily transferring of risk across to contractors. And even in the buoyant times, we're seeing 1 or 2 major contractors who've actually gone into liquidation of recent times. So, which is quite disappointing when we are operating in a very buoyant market.
Let's talk about that 26-year-old guy who's starting a business. He's bought himself an excavator. He's entering into the civil contracting game. What can CCNZ do for him?
So initially, my expectation is that the regional managers will be sitting down with any new members there, talking about the benefits that he can derive from being a member of CCNZ, and that they can be things such as improved purchasing power through our N3 program that we've got rolled out, but it also just about exposing them to some of the work that Executive Council are doing around things like Construction Contracts Act, ensuring that you get paid if you're working for a major client, or retentions around if you're a subcontractor and you're having retentions taken off you, ensuring that they understand that they can fall back on CCNZ to provide some contractual or some commercial advice.
How much support does CCNZ provide members around that from a legality point of view or regulation?
Oh, a huge amount there. We've got on the Executive Council, we have a legal counsel there who's able to be contacted to provide that advice. Failing that, they can always use the regional managers as a conduit to ask questions through myself or to Peter Silcock, our Chief Executive, but we're more than happy to field any questions around that. If we're not comfortable or capable of answering that, we can always get the experts in to support that.
We were saying earlier around the aspect of the industry needs more people. Does not the high-tech aspect or this continual innovation in the technology, does that not take that the other way and reduce the need for people?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there's always going to be there's always going to be a need for people there. Maybe it's just about shifting what those people do. In particular, the innovative machinery and that will, to a degree, remove that. But there's always going to be other roles for labour. We're never going to completely eliminate the labour. We're not going to be a mine in the back of New South Wales that's completely robotically controlled because of the environment we operate in.
So Tim, it's been a fantastic opportunity over the course of these 10 episodes to look at multiple aspects of the industry, and of course we can't go past without saying a word about hire pool and cable price.
Well, absolutely. Without the ongoing support of those two organisations, in particular Hire Pool, who are one of our major associate sponsors, and Cable Price and their ongoing support of the excavator competition throughout the country, which is again one of our highlights of the year.
So we're looking forward very much to doing a little bit more around the National Excavator Operator Competition as well. So I say watch this space. Also, a number of organisations who came on board. We have had ASENS within the group as well. We had Teletrack Navman come on board, talking about some really technical aspects of the industry too. And you were touching on that as well on the technology side.
Absolutely, and at ASENS we were delighted to hold a joint conference with ASENS earlier this year. That was really, really exciting for us, the two industry organisations getting together. And Teletrack Navman there, I wasn't really that au fait with what they did as a business unit, but it was very, very impressive with some of the statistics they were able to produce that were presented at national conference there that we subsequently taken back into our Executive Council and are using as a bit of a guiding light on where we should be going.
Of course, the industry survey is a very valuable tool, and we look forward to that on an annual basis to ensure that we're tracking with what's happening across the industry.
That's right. Well, as they say, feedback is a breakfast of champions, isn't it?
Very true. And of course, the Institution of Civil Engineers came on board as well. Jim Benson joined us. One of the fantastic aspects of that was, of course, the Kaikoura Rebuild win as People's Choice Award for the ICE Awards in London earlier this year. First in the world, which is a brilliant result for New Zealand.
Oh, that's a fantastic acknowledgement for an extremely complicated project there, and it just shows you that the old Kiwi way, we can do it, has come through to be recognised amongst its peers internationally. So, I just congratulate all the people who've been involved in that project from CCNZ.
And of course, we couldn't do a series on a spotlight on civil contracting without actually talking to civil contractors. So we had Schick Civil Construction come on. They had the Victoria on the River development, which was a fantastic win at the National Awards. And of course, Higgins as well came on board and spoke in depth around their business too.
It's the complexity of our business, whether it be consultants, designers, clients. We couldn't build these jobs without good contractors like Schicks and Higgins there. And I'd also like to congratulate Schicks there. That project they did in Hamilton on the side of the river there, that restoration work, the extremely challenging project, and the finish to that was an amazing project.
And of course, the episode preceding this one was with Plan A and Clever Buying, talking around tendering and procurement, two of the mainstays of business. Of course, we spoke very briefly about that earlier on. Some of your thoughts around tendering and procurement? Yeah,
this has been an ongoing challenge. As long as I've been involved in Executive Council, there's been discussions around how we can standardise, simplify our procurement, particularly in New Zealand. What we're finding is that there's an unnecessary apportionment of risk coming back to the contractors, and all we want to be in a position where those who are best to manage the risk do manage the risk. We're very, very keen also to try and standardise contract documents, pre-qualification is another issue in procurement, where we have a number of procurement requirements being imposed on contractors there at great expense. I heard the other day there was one contract had 14 different pre-qualification criteria to meet if they wanted to be able to tender for work in the various areas they operated, and it just becomes unpalatable. So we're working quite closely now with government on how we can improve this environment, but it's been around for a long time.
And this is the great thing about CCNZ. This is an advocacy role that the organisation does for its members in a very, very much needed area around procurement.
So a contractor then we can use CCNZ as a one voice approach, rather than maybe having a session with a client and coming out feeling aggrieved. That at least you can use CCNZ as a major conduit to deal with these issues, particularly with clients.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Tim, for thanking our members who've joined us for the series Spotlight on Civil Contracting. 2019, it's not very far away at the moment. Are you looking forward to it?
Absolutely, Greg. It's 2019 is going to be a great year for civil contractors. You know, as I said before, we've positioned CCNZ now to move forward, and with our technical support, with our comms strategy, a great executive council team who are extremely passionate about the business there, a buoyant market, and we've got everything going for us now. So 2019 is going to be a great year and beyond.
Fantastic stuff. Tim Ford, President of CCNZ. This has been Spotlight on Civil Contracting. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing this to you over the course of the last 10 weeks. We look forward to joining you with more in the Spotlight On series as we talk around multiple industries in the New Zealand playing field. I'm the host, Greg Ward. This has been Spotlight on Civil Contracting.